Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Triangle of Fence. I'm Monish, and as always, I'm joined by Nishant. The trade deadline is coming up, and the most interesting guard out there, or the most interesting player out there, is Victor Oladipo. Given that he has a huge contract, I think Kyle Lowry is the biggest name out there,
Right.
but probably wouldn't be moved around. Toronto are probably going to keep him. It's too late now, I think, for Philly to or even Miami. But Victor Oladipo's situation is kind of tricky because the Rockets, they know that they don't have a long-term future with him, and he's someone who's looking out for a move as well. So he's probably the biggest name out there. Be a can he be a very important player on, say, a playoff team that can really improve and really make a push for the title even? So I'm looking at the likes of, say, do the Clippers need him? Do Miami Heat need him? Miami Heat seems like an interesting proposition. The New York Knicks will probably get stronger if they had someone like Oladipo to their ranks as well. Where do you think this is going? And the Knicks have shown interest. The Detroit Pistons have shown interest. I don't know why Detroit Pistons, but they've shown interest. So, what do you think of the Oladipo situation?
Yeah, Detroit Pistons, because they cut a bunch of salaries, they have nothing but money on hand, and they'd be happy to pick up this contract.
They're a team that's doing the tanking like it should be done.
Yeah,
They're winning a few games, they're fighting hard, they're putting out interesting results and still losing, which means
yeah,
they're bottom of the Eastern Conference. I think that's the way you got to tank, where
yeah,
nobody's criticizing you for losing so many games in a row because they pull out one win in five or one win in six and they're still lowest.
yeah. Minnesota does it once in a while too. That's why they don't have a streak like Houston, but they're still worse than Houston. I like New York. I think that's an interesting fit because they've got Randall at the four, they've got Barrett, and they've got a bunch of talent around them. They've got Obi Toppin, who's an interesting option coming off the bench. And really all they need is a quality big and a good wing player. I think Oladipo would thrive in New York. I like that fit. They could use a wing. He is a wing. Hey, I like that. I like that fit. I think New York is a good option, and it's something that's quite attractive for him also. And for the Knicks, they've got this interesting young team. No great superstars, no A-listers, no all-stars yet, or maybe barely just there. But it's a great team and it works. And as of now, as things stand, more than halfway into the season, they're the number one defense in the league. That's
Yeah.
incredible for a team with
And
no
Oladipo
standout.
is a good defender, right? He's
Correct,
been a
exactly.
defensive player of the year a couple of years back, so he knows how to defend.
He's a
He's
steals
lost,
machine, so he's a
yeah.
great perimeter defender, right? So he can improve their defense. He can absolutely add firepower on their offense when fit. I love the New York fit. I think another team that should, and probably Oladipo is most places where he would fit are out east. Because I
Mhm.
think in the West he has a lot more competition at the wing position. All the elite teams have good wing players. Lakers are stacked at the. I mean, they've got one player, but that's enough. They're stacked at the wing. It seems the case with the Clippers. Seems the case with the Mavs. They've got Luka, who he plays like a point guard, but he really is a wing player. And so most of the big teams in the West are stacked. Golden State could use one, but the last thing they need is more injury trouble. I think they're fine with Wiggins, and I've said this multiple times. Wiggins as the third best player on a playoff team is a great option to have. So
Mhm.
the only other team in the East that I think should make a push and that could benefit from this push is I don't think it's Miami. They've got Jimmy Butler. I think they're good for now, and they have backup. So it's not Miami. It's actually the Atlanta Hawks because it looks like they might lose Collins at some point. And though Collins is more of a forward he plays the four, they could use a wing player. Bogdanovich was supposed to be it, but he's been just outright miserable. Maybe it's a fit issue. Maybe his form's entirely off. But what team would not trade up to move out Bogdanovich and bring in Oladipo? That's a great
Right.
fit, and I like that combo. This Trey Young, Oladipo, and they've got Rondo. They've got the experience they need. Should they make a playoff push this season or the next? I like that fit. So these are the two destinations. Outside chance, dark horse. I wouldn't be surprised if Toronto made a move.
Hmm.
They look to be moving out Kyle Lowry. So they have a more immediate requirement in their backcourt where it looks like they're going to build around Fred VanVleet. But Oladipo starting ahead of Anunoby, that's not the worst move in the world. So I think it makes them stronger. I think Toronto is a good destination too. But if I had to pick, I'd say the Knicks would be the best win-win for both.
Got it. Yeah, I think the Hawks really. I think I like that fit as well because they've been on an upsurge, right? And
Yeah,
they're now fifth or sixth in the league, and they
right.
won like eight consecutive games before the loss recently. So I think that's a team that could really improve and really make a be that party spoiler for one of the top teams in the Eastern
Yeah, could
Conference
be.
in the so they have the talent, and I think Oladipo would really make them stronger. The Raptors, I don't see how that would work out for them because they've spent a ton of amount on Van Fleet. I don't know if they want to do that again with Oladipo as well because he's expecting a big contract. I like the Miami Fit because it's Jimmy Butler, but I'm looking at Oladipo not as a first team player, but someone off the bench for them because someone like a Dennis Schroeder at the OKC last season, something like that. Can you be the sixth player? Can you be the seventh player in the team
Why?
where,
Hold on.
as a leader of
With
the second unit?
Okay. But Miami would be then Miami would have the same problem that Toronto would have. In fact, even worse because they've given Bam a gigantic contract. Butler's not on the cheapest contract in the world. They have a bunch of rookies now, but all of them will need a payday soon. In Kendrick Nunn and Robinson and Tyler Hero, they're not rookies. They're all sophomores now, but so they've got all of that to take care of. They've got a pretty fat. They have a stacked wage bill, so they'll have the same problem. This guy who has, I mean, if Toronto is going to face trouble financially signing him, it's a luxury of another proportion for Miami to sign him for that money and then have him coming off the bench. I think that's a rich luxury. That's kind of why I wasn't. And I don't know if Pat Riley. I don't know if he's the Riley Spoelstra mold of a
Mm-hmm.
player. I don't know if that
Mm-hmm.
fit would work entirely. Versus, so the only reason I'm not wild about him to Atlanta, although it could be a good fit, I think they could use him. But Atlanta has a lot of firepower in outside shooting and outside
Yeah.
scoring. And Trae Young, with his shooting and passing ability, it makes a lot of sense to surround him with sharpshooters. Like a Danny Green
Right.
in his prime or a Kyle
Right.
Korver, that mold, like a JJ Redick, that kind of shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Or even a
Mm-hmm.
Harris from Brooklyn, right? So Oladipo is not quite the sharp shooting guy. He's a high usage rate, ball in his hands, can shoot off the dribble, but he's not exactly a knockdown shooter. He's not a set shot shooter. Uh, but in New York, if they can play as well as they're playing with the bricks that RJ Barrett shoots, Oladipo is it's not even close. Like he would fit right into New York, and his defense can further boost the New York defense. That's the only reason. If he was a sharpshooter, if he was a knockdown three shooter, I'd say it's a match made in heaven in Atlanta. But because he's not, I feel like Atlanta is better served either acquiring a sharpshooter or hoping that Bogdanovich gets better.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think so. I think okay. Let's see how where he goes. Where he goes. I
If he
like the
goes,
Miami fit. If he goes, I'm not too keen on the Toronto Raptors fit because it's not going to be. They're not going to make a push this season, right?
yeah,
They're losing miserably. They've lost like 10 or 11 in a row, so
yeah.
they're not going to make. A push. Miami, a team that can still contend. They're fourth in the Eastern Conference. They can contend. They've made a push to the finals last season as well. They're probably that one player short. So you flip out, say someone like Duncan Robinson and Kendrick Nunn, who's on an expiring contract as well, and then you have someone who can lead your second unit. So that's my push for Oladipo. But like you said, the wage bill is pretty high.
You
He's missed a few games due to injury, so
You may
that's
have a
always a
point. Actually, you may have a point because if they get him now, Oladipo, it's only half a season. They'll have to
yeah.
re-sign him anyway. So hey, if they feel like he helps their playoff push, maybe they bring him on just for this season. Who knows? Yeah. So maybe that can happen. But I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a long-term move, but for this season, sure.
Right. But it's just a couple of days away from the trade deadline. I
Right.
think be it the Knicks, be it the Hawks, be it the Raptors, or be it the Heat, I think they're going to make a move soon. It's going to be interesting few days as they try to just beat the deadline and get those trades done just at the last minute, get some bargain deals in return, or even add some veterans to their lineup to
Yeah.
bolster their squad. But it's going to be an interesting few days. We'll keep our eyes on that and we'll see where it goes. But I think Oladipo is definitely the biggest name out there in the market. Lowry not really happening, but we'll
Right.
keep our eyes on that.
Sure.
All right, then. That's all for today. I will catch you after tomorrow's games. It's going to be a fun game. Warriors against the Sixers. Any picks there?
Sixers.
Well, there's no Embiid and no Curry, so it's going to be a blah matchup anyway.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. I take that back. I take that back. I have no prediction. I couldn't care less. All right.
All right, we'll
Yes,
see how
man.
that goes, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.
Peace.